Grand Rising, Mi5, my people, my family, my tribe. What is going on? I hope everyone's having an amazing Thursday. It has been such an amazing week with the Mi5 movement. We have had so much going on, and we have such an amazing episode lined up for you tonight for the Mindset Mastery. We are super amped to have our guest come on. We're going to announce him in just a little bit here. But first, as always, we want to dive into what is the purpose behind these calls? Why do we hold the Mindset Mastery call? What is the Mi5 movement? And how are we instilling and empowering individuals worldwide with the confidence and the tools and the resources needed to navigate the terrain of the current state of affairs that in which we all live, right? So listen, the Mi5 movement is such a powerful movement with so many experiences that we have had within the last 365 days since inception. It truly has been a world of adventure. So we started off literally last April in 2022, and we started as just a mastermind. When Mi5 first started, literally mastermind, right? And the mindset was so important behind every member of that mastermind, because everybody within that mastermind had the same mindset, that they had a strong burning desire to recognize that there's something greater in life than what we are told within the societal constructs in which we live, which you do not have to live within a 9-to-5 job where you're not happy, but you can actually utilize the technology, the tools, and the resources of the current state of the world and leverage those tools. And we provide a pathway using those tools to create a life where you're able to receive multiple streams of income from multiple sources, which ultimately will allow you to have the income and resources and the capital to pursue whatever it is that makes you super passionate. Because we believe that the more individuals within this universe that are living a life with passion and doing what they're passionate about on a daily basis, the more impact we will have on humanity as a whole, because we believe everybody has the burning desire inside of themselves to have a passionate life, right? And we just show the pathway to that passionate life. So Mi5, really, I want to just bring up really quickly, what is our mission statement? We bring it up every week. Here it is right here. Mi5 aims to help others create a map to self-mastery through mindset, utilizing modeling multiple streams of income to manifest one's ideal life. The mission of the organization is to help individuals achieve wealth so that they can live a life that they love. We believe through doing this, we will help people unlock their inner potential so they can make a positive impact on humanity. We are a platform to educate and provide people passive income that will lead to financial independence and freedom of time. Mi5 means millionaire in 5 years. We provide a roadmap to create, grow, and sustained wealth. Wow, what a mouthful, right? I know I just went into that a lot more in depth before. You see, Mi5 approaches things a little differently than the traditional companies you may have been a part of that resides within this space that we're in, the space of exploring passive income or financial trading. You see, we've been involved in countless amount of companies and organizations prior to creating the Mi5 movement. And when I say we, I mean me and the other core members of the Mi5 movement, where the model is you come in and it's not really an environment where you can thrive and succeed, because they don't really put you in a mindset that you need in order to do so. A lot of times these environments are very vicious, and they're very, it's more so about them achieving wealth as a company than it is about the individual that's within the company achieving wealth through the resources of the company. We flip the script. The resources that we provide are far more abundant than anything else. And the fact that the Mi5 movement is 100% free is an amazing thing. So mindset plays such a critical element in everything, because mindset is the foundation in which you lay the groundwork to be able to receive the education, the resources, and the tools that the MI5 movement provides. If you have the right mindset, you'll go into it with the right action plan to be able to execute the vision that we just laid out for you guys. If you don't, it's like the lottery winner that wins too much money, right, and blows it all and he's broke within a year, or the celebrity that has everything they could ever dream for, the house, the car, and everything, but they're depressed and they have a drug issue or they commit suicide. The wrong mindset upon receiving abundance can be detrimental. So mindset is a critical element to understand first. So tonight, and every night that we do the mindset mastery, we bring on special guests that have such an amazing history and have accomplished a very ideal life with a lot of success and can speak to that success. And elements of mindset are found all throughout every success story on this planet, because there's so many different parallels into which mindset plugs within. So I'm going to have Mr. Andrew Golden come on here and introduce our guest this evening. We are super excited because we are going to have so much wisdom shared on the topic of mindset, as well as just the extraordinary history of this individual. So come on aboard, Andrew Golden.
What is going on, man? Brian, thanks for delivering such an amazing message, and the awesome vision of MI5. We've got this, we've got an amazing, thing that we have been doing for over a year now. Over a year, we have been helping people, individuals, achieve greatness in their life, becoming the best version of themselves. Not only that, but doing that so they can enjoy a life of financial freedom. In the last 365 days, we actually have been, it's longer than that. It's like 380 days now. We've been able to help 60 people create six-figure incomes through the methods that we provide. But tonight, we're really here to highlight an individual, and this guy, his name is Craig Bruce. Okay, how do I know Mr. Craig Bruce? Okay, I met him at a conference that he was speaking at. We had some lunch together, and we just clicked after that. Craig has delivered his message in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people. I would actually say it's in the higher thousands. And, just a couple of Craig's accomplishments. He's the founder of Evolve Health and Lifestyle. He's been a coach for high performers for years. He's helped hundreds of people reach their maximum potential, whether that's through delivering his message or working with them one-on-one. He shared the stage with people like Les Brown, Sharon Lechter, the co-author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and most importantly, he's the dad of two amazing dogs. But guys, I say all that to really highlight the fact that tonight there is going to be an extreme amount of value dropped, on the topic of high performance and, something that we care a lot about here at MI5, being the best version of yourself so that you can be as passionate as you would like to and tackle that passion with energy so that you can live your best life, right? And really, truly live what it is that you are here on this earth to do. So with that, Mr. Craig Bruce, the stage is yours, man.
Andrew, Brian, man, guys, thank you so much for this opportunity. I love what you do. I love that you are breaking some traditional paradigms as to help people create wealth. I love the fact that you very much upfront acknowledge the fact that mindset is so critical in everything we do. I also love the fact that you help people really take their passions and turn that into helping them live their best life now. So when you asked me to come and share some of my experiences with your community, I'm so honored. So again, thank you. What I'd love to do tonight is really share with you of which mindset is a critical part. It's about winning at the game of life, relationships, and business. And believe it or not, it is possible to have success in all three aspects of your life, your relationships, and your business. You don't have to sacrifice one or two of the others to have really even more success than you're having right now. So I've got a couple of questions for you, and we'll see if we'll see if there's some audience participation. Who here in this community who's listening to us tonight is a high performer and crushing it in your career? If that's you, and you can, type a 1 in the chat. Now, oh, I'm seeing some 1s come up. Absolutely. But who here believes or feels that you've had to sacrifice parts of your life and maybe your health and even key relationships for that career? If that's you, again, if you can, type a 1 in the chat. Well, that was my life 8 years ago, but it's not my life today. And that's why today I want to share with you the exact system and process that I use to transform my life so that I'm continuing to achieve that success in my career, but I'm not sacrificing relationships. I'm not sacrificing my health, my wellness. And ultimately, I'm able to live my best life now. Now, before I share that, I'd like to share just a little bit about my story. Andrew made an introduction, and I appreciate that. And by the way, the 2 Aussie Doodles are under my feet right now. So it's always great. I don't mind working from home because I got 2 amazing office mates. For 25 years, I led the life of a busy global executive. 2.5 million miles on one airline and 1 million miles on another. And I wore it like a badge of honor. I even bragged about it at parties and to my friends. It was that lifestyle, that partner in a global management consulting firm, expat in Brazil and Mexico, consulting with clients across the Americas and in Europe. It was that lifestyle that was taking its toll. You see, I'd wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning and my mind was racing and I couldn't get back to sleep. If that's you, just think about it. Does that happen to you? I struggled with my weight and pain in my entire body. And worst of all, it was wrecking my relationships. I felt like I was running on that proverbial hamster wheel, and I couldn't jump off. If that's you, just pause for a moment and reflect. Is that resonating with you? Be honest with yourself. And one night, as I'm boarding my return flight home, it'd been a 15-hour day, and I still had about another 4 hours before my head hit the pillow. I got settled into my window seat, and the flight attendant approached me, and I thought she was going to ask me what I wanted to drink. But instead, she leaned over and said to me, "You look horrible." Yeah, she said that to me. And it was in that moment that I just turned and I stared at my reflection in that window, in that tiny little airplane window, and tears welled up. And I said, "Craig, You're a grown man crying in public. Stop it. Your life sucks. But you know what? To everybody else, man, I was killing it. But the truth was, I was killing myself, so much so that the very next day I landed in the doctor's office and my doctor ordered bed rest. But do you know what my version of bed rest was? It was my laptop, my cell phone, and conference calls from my bed. And it was in that moment that I knew that something had to change, that my current lifestyle, that lifestyle of making a lot of money, traveling the world, speaking in front of audiences, that was giving me that rush, it was taking its toll. And I said at that moment, I have to become an advocate for my own health and well-being, because if not, I'm not going to be around. So what did I do? I went on this journey. It was a 5-year journey, researching science-based solutions for the mind and body, and everything I learned, all those science-based habits, which I'm going to share some of them with you tonight, I used to transform my life. And it's what I do today, working with high-performing business leaders and entrepreneurs, just like all of you, to achieve even more success in your career. But realizing that you don't have to sacrifice your health, your wellness, and those key relationships. Now, who here wants to live the best version of you now and not have to wait 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Whatever that version, that best version of you means, more freedom, deeper relationships, more clarity in what you are and who you're being. But I got a question for you. Why is it that so many business leaders, high-performing business leaders like all of us and entrepreneurs, burn out? Think about it. Why is it? In fact, in a recent global study of 2,000, almost 2,000 organizations and 15,000 global business leaders, 60% of those leaders reported that they feel washed up by the end of the day. In a recent study of entrepreneurs, 50% of the entrepreneurs say they feel stressed, burned out, and struggle with mental health issues. Something's not working. Now, why is that? Why is it that we as high-performing achievers, what is it? It's because of a mindset that we have. We are achievers. We get stuff done. We actually get adrenaline rushes from success. We come to the table with what many call a have, do, be mindset. What do I have to have? What are the outcomes? And then what are the actions that I need to take to be whoever? A successful entrepreneur, a millionaire in 5 years, a good dad, a good partner, a great spouse. And when I sit down and talk with my clients, and I'm going to invite you to actually do this little exercise as well, I ask them, how do you spend your time in the 3 major spheres of influence that we have control over. And those three major spheres are myself, me, the relationships that I'm involved in, and my career. And overwhelmingly, if I had a pie chart that I could draw here, at least 60 to 70% of the time is spent on career. And it's probably even greater for entrepreneurs because we're hustling. We're working in the business. And a lot less time on ourself and our relationships. And what that leads to is stress. Hey, glad you guys are joining in. It's great to see comments coming in. Continue with those comments. What that leads to is stress. And stress in and of itself is not bad. Our body is designed so that stress works to our advantage. It's really our body's response to taxing demands. The issue becomes when that stress becomes, as in my case, it becomes chronic. And you end up like I did in doctor-ordered bed rest. But it also ends up in and manifests itself in our body with regard to gaining weight, loss of sleep, insomnia, brain fog. And at the worst end of that continuum of the way it manifests in a body, it's anxiety, it's depression, it's loneliness. And we know that what we've all experienced in the last 4 years, there's a lot of that. And it's even higher with entrepreneurs because solopreneurs, because we tend to work alone. So what is an answer? All right, I'm going to invite you to write this down. The answer is to prioritize you. Yep, that's what I said. Prioritize you. Invest in you so that you can ignite you. And what I have found in coaching hundreds of high-performing business leaders, there are 3 areas, and I want to share those 3 areas with you. And here's where mindset comes into it. The first area is what I call consciousness. It's what most people call mindset. I'll share the 3 areas, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about each one of those briefly. So it's consciousness, it's lifestyle, and it's community. Those are the 3 areas that I have found. Those are the 3 levers that when I'm coaching my clients, we work on. Now let's talk about consciousness or mindset. Here's my very simple definition of mindset or consciousness. And I use the word consciousness because I believe consciousness is a higher state of being. Consciousness or mindset is who you're being and how you show up every day. Who you're being and how you show up every day. And it involves 3 areas. The first area is growth. So do you have a growth mindset? Do you believe that your intelligence is not fixed? Do you believe that you can grow? Do you, when you have setbacks, do you learn from those setbacks? Do you take feedback and grow and not take it personally? That's what growth mindset is. The second part of consciousness is clarity. It's about getting very clear about who you are and how you want to show up every day. And the third part of consciousness is intention. And intention is, do you have a goal? Do you have an aim? One of my mentors, Michael Bernard Beckwith, who's the founder of Agape Spiritual Center here in Los Angeles, and I'll invite you to write this down. He says, with intention comes design. Without intention comes default. Let me repeat that. With intention, you have design. Without intention, you have default. Who here wants to live a life of default? My guess is no one. And so it means shifting that paradigm of thinking from have, do, be to be, do, have. Who do I want to be? Who am I going to be? What do I need to do in order to have the outcome? Zig Ziglar, who was one of the founders of personal development, that whole personal development field, says you've got to be before you can do, and do before you can have. As I'm working with my clients on this consciousness, this mindset, there are 3 questions that I ask my clients and that we really spend a lot of time on. The first is, who do you want to be? And it's who do you want to be as a person? The second question is, what are your key values? That's actually the first question. We start with values. What are your key values? Because that will help you begin to articulate who you want to be. For me, my 4 key values, I'll share those with you. My 4 key values are 1, a connection to my source. 2, my health and wellness. 3, long-term relationships. And 4, being surrounded by diversity and inclusion. So not everybody looks the same around me. Thought, race, sexual orientation. And then the third question is, why is all of this important to me? So we have that discussion. And when you're part of this community and we work together, we create an I am statement. Who are you? That's consciousness. That's mindset. And I love the fact that Mi5 actually focuses on mindset, and that this is a mindset mastery, because you can see how important mindset is. Who do you want to be and how do you want to show up every day is critical to living your best life now. The second area is lifestyle. And lifestyle involves 3 areas. Lifestyle involves how you nourish, restore, and move your body. How you nourish, restore, and move your body. And in working with my clients, I share with them science-based behaviors around those 3 areas, and we create rituals. And I use that word ritual intentionally because it's not about a routine. It's about a ritual, which is something that is more sacred. And we create a morning ritual and we create an evening ritual. Morning rituals are intended to set you up for success throughout the day. They're intended to give you back your control of the day. And we create literally hour by hour what the morning looks like. And we build in science-based habits that we know will help optimize your performance. Some habits like waking up at the same time every morning and not hitting that snooze. Anybody here hit that snooze? If you hit the snooze, the only reason you're hitting the snooze is because you actually didn't get a good night's sleep and you're tired. So we wake up at the same time every morning. Our body loves that consistency. We also know that if we hydrate before we caffeinate, so drink water before we reach for that cup of coffee, because our body dehydrates during the night for lots of reasons. And by hydrating, it will give us more energy. We also know that getting some morning sunlight within the first hour after you wake up, getting some kind of movement, all of that, getting that sunlight helps reset your circadian rhythm, and your body will secrete cortisol, which is energy. The evening ritual is really designed to enhance, to protect your sleep, to protect that last hour before you go to bed. Because what do most of us do? Most of us are on these little devices here, or on our laptop, or our computer. That's the absolute wrong thing to do, because the blue lights coming from those electronic devices actually send a message to our body that it's daylight, and our body gets confused. It impacts the quality of our sleep. We get less deep sleep and we get less REM sleep, which are critical to both recovery and brain health. And so we build in habits where we shut off electronics at least 30 minutes before we go to bed. We end caffeine by 2 p.m. because we know that if we have caffeine later in the day, because of the half-life of caffeine, it stays in our body for 6 hours, that it's going to impact our ability to get into deep sleep. So we build out these rituals that are very science-based, based on the individual schedule. We create, literally put it on the calendar, because what I find is if you don't put it on a busy professional's calendar, it just doesn't get done. And then the third area is community. And community, and this one actually surprises people, that this is part of one of the levers that actually helps you live your best life now. But here's why it's one of my 3 levers. What is community? Community is your tribe. It's your people. It's where you can go and be authentic. It's where you can go and be you. It's where you can go and where you feel like you belong. And where together as a community, you co-create, you co-elevate each other. But community, while it can support you, it can also derail you. And that's why it's very clear to create what I call terms of engagement, often referred to as boundaries. And honestly, this is my number one secret to living your best life now. It's setting these rules of engagement or boundaries. And honestly, folks, we suck at it. Why? Because we're achievers. We're of service to people. We don't say no. We put ourselves last. If that's resonating with anybody, there's probably reason why. And so these terms of engagement, and that's why I've switched the word from boundaries to terms of engagement, because it's about how we are going to engage with each other. They help you really set your identity. Maureen, I love your comments. Thank you. They communicate how others are going to interact with you and how you will interact with others. And it allows you to live your best life now. let me give you and this doesn't have to be, there doesn't have to be a lot of drama here. Let me share with you an example of an executive in New York that I was working with. Can show you just how simple this is. 45 years old, a dad of 2 kids, both under the age of 10. And when we sat down and had a conversation about his values, his top 3 values were his health, his family, and his career. And the reason his health was number 1 is because if he didn't take care of himself, he couldn't take care of his family. And so every morning he would wake up quite early, 5 a.m., go to the gym, come back, and then he and his wife, who also worked, would get the kids ready for school and daycare. And then he would drive them to school and daycare. And a couple of mornings out of each week, he would receive a text from a colleague. And he would always answer the text. But it began to irritate him because this was his family time. This was his time with his kids. But yet he continued to answer the text. And when we began to examine where his values were being infringed upon, this scenario came up. And me being an outsider, I just asked the simple question, well, have you had a discussion with your colleague? And he said, no. I said, well, maybe you should just set a term of engagement or a boundary and say to him that I'm not available until 8 a.m. because it's my family time. And guess what? He did. And his colleague surprisingly said, I get it. I'm a dad too. And the only reason I continued to text you is that you would text me back. The point in that story is oftentimes there doesn't have to be a lot of drama and there doesn't have to be confrontation to begin to live your best life now. And so as you think about setting these terms of engagement, get really clear about what's important to you. What are your values and what are your non-negotiables? And then begin to scan your environment and look where these are being infringed upon. Why? Develop an action plan and then communicate. You know, Brene Brown, who is a professor at University of Houston and also does work at University of Texas at Austin, and also just a giant in personal development, says, clear is kind. Think about it. Clear is kind. So the 3 areas, again, are consciousness, mindset, lifestyle, and community. And what I have found is that in working in those 3 areas, everybody can begin to and can continue to achieve the success that you're having, and you don't have to sacrifice relationships and you don't have to sacrifice your health. Now, I often get asked, why, Craig, you know, you had a really successful first career. Why are you still working? Why do you do this? And some days, actually, I don't, not anymore. I don't ask myself. I don't question. The reason why I do this is growing up, I never really felt like I fit in. And yet I did really well. And as I reflected back on my life over the last several years, I found that I discovered why I did well. And it was because while I didn't feel like I fit in, I did find my communities. I found my people. High school, college, business school, I found people who I could just be authentic. I could be myself. And together we co-elevated each other. And that's really why I'm on this mission to empower high performing business leaders just like you all to embrace your uniqueness and soar in all aspects of your life so that you're really living your best life now. And I also often get asked, so Craig, what is it like to work with you, and what are some of the results? And what clients tell me is that first there's a transformation. There's a transformation of becoming the best version of you. And for a lot of audiences and for a lot of people, that means owning your life the way you own the boardroom, the way you own a Zoom room, the way you own a conference room. That's the transformation that people go through. And then there are results around just boundless energy. People say, I have more energy because I'm consistently getting more sleep. I'm consistently making healthier food choices. I'm moving better. I feel like now that I have my morning ritual and my evening ritual, I have more control over my day and my evening, and I can focus on the things that really matter. And it's just really about finding greater harmony and greater balance. I tend to use the word harmony because I don't really think balance is possible. And so if any of this is resonating with you, I'd love to have a conversation, and we'll Andrew, Brian, we'll figure out. Do we put the? Can you guys come back and we can share the screen? Hey.
We're back.
All right.
So yeah, we definitely have had such an amazing time listening to all the wisdom that you've shared to us.
I'm just curious. I'd love to hear from you guys. What are your biggest takeaways?
I think that everything that you're saying is resonating very hard to a lot of people that are probably viewing tonight, and it's something, and it's some place where we've all been, right?
Yeah.
A lot of us anyways, where you have to sort of, navigate through a career that seems successful, right? Like I'm having a mass amount of success. I was in restaurant operations for years and years. Overseeing multiple operations across multiple states, always on the airplanes, flying to and from, super busy, super, high paced, corporate life of travel and operational work. But, it's like having that awareness of like, okay, like, let me focus on me, didn't really come ever within my entire existence until I got laid off in the pandemic. And I think one of the biggest blessings of the pandemic that a lot of, and we've recognized this amongst people within our community and people within our circles, is that it made everybody slow down.
Yeah.
From all that fast pace, travel and here, there, and everything. Yeah. And that really allowed a lot of self-awareness to happen.
Yeah.
And time, because like you said, you had days that are 19 hours. Yeah. I worked, my longest shift was 22 and a half hours. I slept out in the parking lot and did 18 hours afterwards.
My God. Yeah. I get it. It.
So yeah, it's like you're slowing down was such a blessing for the pandemic for me when I did, have a duration of time where everything stopped, especially for city people that work in cities or have worked in cities.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Super resonant with me on that end. How about you, Andrew?
Yeah, man, I think for me the biggest takeaway was just the emphasis on boundaries, or terms of engagement, just because like that was a huge thing when I went job free, is knowing when to set time aside. That pretty much I don't like text everyone, hey, I'm not available, but it's like just simply having a moment where my phone is on like do not disturb for hours, instead of just like Because for me, where I kind of integrate that into my life is from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. when I wake up at 5 a.m. and then I spend like the first 5 hours of the day, executing on I've been calling it, instead of my morning routine, my momentum routine, because like that's when I build the momentum.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
so that's what I'm doing, my momentum routine, and just like banging out my most important tasks. And like, honestly, the biggest thing that would keep me from doing that when I first started was people calling me, like these East folks, guys, these Eastern time guys, Brian Davis. No, I'm kidding.
You know how we do.
Yeah, everyone on the East Coast, it's like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., but it's a way sooner for us. So just kind of like be honoring my own time and not picking up every call that I get, not answering every text that I get until a certain time. So, for me, that's probably like one of the most important things out of everything that you talked about.
Cool. Thank you guys for sharing that. Thanks for sharing those stories.
Of course, man.
I think a lot of our community, especially the core members, Andrew, like one of the cool parts about achieving job-free entrepreneur status, and a main reason why we do what we love every day, and we have so much gratitude in our hearts that we get to do that. But as more and more of our community gets to experience this, it's like we've been really great about being like, oh, I need a weekend, or I'm going to Disney with my family or whatever, right? And we all step aside and make sure we prioritize those boundaries to be able to have that recharge. And oftentimes, when you're given 2 weeks paid vacation or 3 weeks paid vacation per year in the typical 9 to 5, if you take it and you don't skip it and take the paycheck or something else instead, people don't have as much time to recharge.
Or even worse, just don't take the time and lose it.
Yeah, that too. Yep. Been there. So
Yep. Been there, done that, right?
Yep, for sure. No,
yeah.
so I think that Andrew, if you want to wrap us up here at the end, unless Craig, is there anything else that you want to dive into this evening?
I would just, kind of just in closing, I would say that it's about progress, not perfection. So the stuff we talked about today, it doesn't happen overnight, and it's progress, not perfection.
Golden key right there.
Golden key.
Big time. Big time. Yeah, that's something that we say a lot here at Mi5. That's like literally how we got this show running. That's how we got the entire movement of Mi5 up to where it is. Like, we started and it was kind of, rusty around the edges and all that. And we kind of just refined it as we went. And we promised, we were like, we're going to start this show at the beginning of 2023, no matter what. And we ended up making it happen. And it was a lot of, bumps in the road, figuring out how to do a show. But here we are today, doing it. We're on episode 16 for both of our shows, actually. And it's one of my favorite things every single week is doing this and having people to share value on every single week, and to be able to come on and add some of my own value into the mix. It's one of the things that I'm the most passionate about. So, guys, if you want to get connected with Craig and talk to him about, it's not just high performing business leaders and CEOs that work with Craig. A lot of people, just regular people that even work a job, all of this stuff is applicable and important in everyone's life. And I think that because you don't maybe see yourself as this high performer or whatever, you might actually skip over some of that and think that it's maybe not so important. But, I digress. Craig, if you want to say anything on that, because I know that's something that
I think, again, I think everything that, everything that I talked about today applies to everybody.
Yeah, 100%. And if you guys want to check out his website and learn a little bit more about his program, go ahead there. It's www.evolvehealthandlifestyle.com. Check it out. Don't miss it. And Craig, thanks for coming on, man. It was an absolute pleasure. If you guys are not a part of the Mi5 community, then you should, because for a limited time, it won't be free for much longer, because, oh man, we have a huge announcement to make. Then join it, because it's not going to be free for much longer, period.
Quite a big, announcement to make to all of you guys that are tuning in live or watching the recording. Within the next 2 weeks, the Mi5 movement is going to be making an explosive announcement with a new channel of wonder. Let's just put it that way. Get ready for some adventure. Get ready for some amazing vehicles coming your way soon. We're super excited about this. Cannot stress it enough. We've got something amazing cooking.
Yeah. I mean, guys, this is something that's been a dream of ours since the beginning. And not to mention more financial abundance will be flowing through the pipeline for everybody involved, but that means the community will be much larger. And so, in light of that, Craig, I hope this isn't the last time that we have you on here, because this show will only be more engaged as the weeks go by. And so, with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. And, as the MI5, the official MI5 weatherman, I've been doing my analysis of the weather. My, what's it called again? Brian, help me out, man. What's it called? The science of weather?
Your technical meteorology.
Yeah. My technical analysis of the weather. I have a degree in meteorology, or abundanceology. And, and you see, guys, we're coming up here on a quite literal monsoon of manifestation and a hurricane of abundance and maybe even a tornado of prosperity, because, guys, it's freaking insane. And, it's my civil duty to make sure that you guys are prepared for that, on my honor, because seriously, guys, it's no joke. Guys, I just want to remind you to grab your umbrellas, because MI5 is taking 2023 by storm. Let's go. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.